I apologize for not releasing this video earlier because by now, almost all the Black Friday deals have expired. But regardless, there were many indie games that I wanted to show off that I left out because of how much more they cost, closer to AA games. So this list will feature games initially priced at $30 to $50, with similar quality to that of a 3DS game. There will only be 25 in this list, but it only makes sense given these games are far less frequent than smaller indie games. 25. Front Mission, First Remake. To be honest, it was either this game or Saga Frontier Remastered, and Saga Frontier Remastered is incredibly obnoxious to play. Front Mission, First Remake is another Square Enix remake where you must pilot mechs that you can customize and upgrade. This game has a nice retro anime-inspired story that you can certainly get enthralled in if the gameplay doesn't do it justice for you. 24. Samurai Showdown. This isn't the kind of fighting game that's all about combos and creativity, but rather are you able to find an opening and make your opponent pay for giving it to you. If you're one of those gamers that like those kinds of fighting games, this is not a bad one by any means. It's pretty over the top with its special effects, so that's one thing to keep in mind. I think this game is way overpriced. 23. Battle Chasers Night Ward. Based on the comic book series, this is a traditional RPG where you assemble a party of 3 to explore a map and defeat waves of enemies. The visuals really bring the best out of this game, while the deep combat mechanics make you really want to build towards those super powerful attacks. Overall, it's just a great RPG with a beautiful art style and no gimmicks. 22. The Book of Unwritten Tales 2. Now why is this game on this list? It looks like a bland, outdated game for children. This game was on the Wii U, but the thing about point-and-click adventure games is they're not that long. Even the Monkey Island games can be speed-ran in less than 2 hours. However, this game is one of the longest point-and-click games you can buy now, and that's perfect for people who want to unwind and enjoy a good puzzle adventure from time to time. It is pretty funny as well. 21. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. The women of SNK crossed over to make for a unique 2-on-2 fighting game. Rather than the typical fight until one player is left standing, the objective is to actually land your dream finish super move in order to win. The characters each have different outfits to unlock, and they all have their own fun play styles. The game also has a story, if you can believe it, where many King of Fighters characters have all turned into women and have been kidnapped inside a large mansion. Sylvie and Shermie are my 2 mains in this game. I've had more fun with this game over Samurai Showdown, but to each their own. 20. City Skylines. City Skylines is a city builder game that aims to be very user-friendly. You build neighborhoods, businesses, parks and landmarks, and then you can also see how the city looks in real time with cars, pedestrians, and more. Being able to create your own city the way you want to was one of the biggest appeals for me. But beware, you're practically the mayor of your city, meaning you also have to take care of it in terms of electricity, sanitation, and other burdens. 19. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. This is probably your last chance to buy a purely 2D BlazBlue game before it gets the Fighter Z treatment. This crossover game features characters from BlazBlue, Persona, Under Night in Birth, and oddly enough, Ruby the Rooster Teeth series. The controls are super simple compared to earlier BlazBlue games, which is great for newcomers. It's also neat to know that you can also play as a giant tank. 18. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. If you like WWE All-Stars from 2011, this is closest you can get to that. With arcade gameplay and toy-like visuals, WWE 2K Battlegrounds features practically nearly every WWE wrestler from the year 2020 and over a dozen legends to play as, each with their own moveset and costumes you can either purchase or unlock. This game is a lot funner and deeper than people say it is. 17. Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden. Great open-world tactical RPG game. Like Mario plus Rabbids games, the game instantly turns into a turn-based RPG battle wherever you first engage. While you only initially have 3 characters in your party, each of them are unique and do special abilities, in which you have to strategically play to each of their strengths in order to defeat clans and proceed on with the story. The game was based on a board game and looks like a Telltale game, but much darker, literally. If you really like XCOM 2, you're doing yourself a disservice by passing on this one.
16. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. If you want a more expansive Metroidvania that is a spiritual successor to Castlevania, this is what most experts will point to.
Miriam is highly customizable from her appearance to her weapons. With gorgeous visuals and excellent music, there's a lot to look forward to, but also a few things to keep in mind though. One thing is that many of the monsters in this game are really bizarre. Bizarre enough to get you to stop playing. Like a large disembodied puppy head. But if you can get over this, more power to you. 15. Dusk Diver. A 3D beat-em-up game, Dusk Diver is a vibrant and colorful romp that's almost like a Dynasty Warriors game. Given the developer, this game is very surprising in quality and depth. You have different characters, moves, weapons, and summons at your disposal, and in between all the action, everything from the puzzles to the friendship system makes this game feel whole and not overpriced. And of course, it's another schoolgirl game where you can purchase additional outfits if you please. 14. Wonder Boy Asha in Monster World. A remake of the old Sega game. I can't help but applaud the visuals of this game. It really looks like a retro-style anime with an amazing color palette. This 2D action game is a little clunky, but you can play at your own pace. You can speed run it fine, or take it easy if you're a completionist. This game also has 2.5D elements, so it's not always the diorama atmosphere. Just a charming game overall, and certainly an alternative if you like Shantae. 13. Clubhouse Games, Action 52. I have to include this on here, too. This game certainly has its ups, especially with its game selection and online play. Of course, I feel this game could have been better if there were rewards for playing online, and not just have it be there. But this is definitely a game to consider if you want something to play with relatives or other people that you know they would enjoy. My favorite games on here are Chinese checkers, toy curling, and dots and boxes, if that surprises you. 12. Leightons Mystery Journey, Catriel and the Millionaire's Conspiracy. If you're a fan of Professor Layton, this spin-off game might really grow on you. It's a detective game, but the main appeal is solving logic puzzles. The deluxe edition is beautifully upscaled to the Switch from the 3DS, and you can hardly tell at times whether you're playing a 3D game or a 2D game. My one gripe about this game is that there is no autosave. You have to save manually or else you'll lose a lot of your progress if you prematurely shut the game off. But if you want a good story-driven game and get away from violence and action, you can't go wrong here. 11. Spiritfarer. A wonderful indie game, Spiritfarer is an open-world sim management game where you have to basically build an entire town out of your ship. With your ship, you travel to different lands and complete quests for NPCs in order to further discover what the game has to offer. The art style is pretty incredible, with the water being the best things to look at. I thought about putting this game in my list of indie games, but the steep price really warrants a double status here. 10. The Lara Croft Collection. This double pack of Lara Croft games are isometric shooter games that star Lara as she takes on enemies and solves puzzles in ancient caves and ruins. Through the course of both games, you'll unlock a variety of weapons such as shotguns, flamethrowers, and grenade launchers, and you'll sure to find a favorite. Weapons can also be unlocked by completing one of the many challenges in both games. 9. Indivisible. This game surely looks high quality, and while it does have its flaws, I sure had my fun with it. Considered a real-time RPG, you can assemble 4 party members and devise a strategy to attack the opposition. Each character has its own set of skills and moves, and you execute these moves with specific input commands. The overworld section of the game is also pretty neaty. Another game that's technically an indie game, but the price and quality really bumped this game up for me. 8. Spyro, Reignited Trilogy. I never played any of the classic Spyro games, but I'm glad to have gotten this trilogy courtesy of Toys for Bob. All 3 games in this trilogy feel unique in their own way, making them all the more reason to try each one of them and play them until the end. While the controls are something to get used to, these are certainly unique games even for platforms, with just the right difficulty. 7. Thronebreaker. I liked Gwent, both from The Witcher 3 and its standalone game. I thought this would be more of the same, but it's actually a completely new RPG with completely different rules from Gwent. There are plenty of trading card games on Switch, but this one caught my attention the most. The one caveat here is that when you start a new chapter, you don't get to keep your cards. You start over with a new deck. 6. Sonic Mania. Sega trusted Christian Whitehead's studio to make a retro-style Sonic game, and it certainly paid off. With 16-bit graphics that are oozing with charm, and a slate of unique and colorful worlds to complete, this feels like an authentic Sonic 4. To add further replayability, you can also play as Tails and Knuckles and play time trials for each level. A great way to uncover secrets and shortcuts. This game started at $20, but it sure doesn't play like a $20 game.
5. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania.
Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania is another collection of classic games, this time from Sega's Super Monkey Ball series. Essentially, these are platform puzzle games where you have to guide your monkey to the goal without falling off the stage. This game remakes each and every stage from the first 3 games in addition to 12 multiplayer modes and many unlockables spanning from your character to the ball you traverse in. 4. Tactics Ogre Reborn. Square Enix sets a low bar with many of their remakes, but this is easily their best from what I have played. Tactics Ogre Reborn is an isometric strategy RPG. This is an incredibly deep game with a rich story and branching paths, allowing for replayability. Enemies can be recruited, but only if you have the right class for the right enemy. It's not an easy game either. When you fail, you're compelled to try again until you win. 3. Scribblenauts Mega Pack. This is honestly an incredible duo of Scribblenauts games published by Warner Brothers. This pack includes Scribblenauts Unlimited and Scribblenauts Unmasked. You can type out almost any word or phrase and create an object from it. Each game consists of a series of puzzles where the end goal for each is to earn a starite. Collect enough starites to unlock more stages. The Scribblenauts Unmasked game is the second game of this pack, featuring DC heroes and villains. 2. Fuga, Melodies of Steel. This is a linear RPG where you play as a group of anthropomorphic children driving a sentient tank. You assign 3 characters at a time to control 3 turrets, and 3 other characters to serve as substitutes. This game is very similar to Fire Emblem and other RPGs that involve friendship building, cooking, and exploration when you're not driving the tank and engaging in battles. This is a wonderful RPG that I can't recommend enough. 1. Neon White. A first-person puzzle game, it has the atmosphere of a high-budget 3DS game. With fast-paced action and resource management, you're always challenged to find the fastest ways to hit all the targets and reach the goal. Each stage has a series of weapons including rocket launchers, ziplines, and fire dashes as different abilities to traverse through levels. There are also a series of side missions to play out when you collect enough gifts that are meant to give for your friends. The sound and bass music is also very excellent. This is a game that doesn't look like it's number 1 on anyone's list, but it certainly plays like it belongs at the top.